Good evening, children. Let's enjoy the beautiful and exciting journey of outer space with this interesting science fiction story, A Trip to Mars. Fiction means imagination, the stories which you create with your own ideas. Now, this story, which we are going to read, is a science fiction story. In science fiction stories, imaginative situations are described taking place in different planets, galaxies, or underwater worlds. They introduce readers to unearthly characters like aliens and technologies along the way. These stories may contain facts as well as imagined elements that do not exist in the real world. Sometimes, a science fiction story also describes action that could happen in the future. These are a few examples of science fiction stories. It is based on an imaginary trip to Mars, which is a planet in space that we have not yet visited. This story is about an astronaut named Captain Jenna. She is the captain of the spacecraft which flies into outer space. We will read how she travels to the planet Mars alone and what she does over there. Captain Jenna had gone into outer space several times in a spacecraft with other astronauts and scientists. But this time it was different. This time she was going to fly a spacecraft to Mars alone. She wanted to explore it and see and know a lot of different things about the planet. She also wanted to collect rocks and soil from there and bring them back to Earth for the scientists to study them. After a lot of discussion with other astronauts and scientists, Captain Jenna set off on her journey to Mars a few days later. Who is an astronaut? An astronaut is a person trained to travel in outer space in a spacecraft. Spacecraft is a special and powerful vehicle that carries people into outer space. Now, what is outer space? The space that is beyond the Earth. She wanted to go to Mars, the fourth planet of the solar system. How was Captain Jenna's latest space travel going to be different? Previously, she used to go with a team of scientists and astronauts, but this time she was going alone. Scientists mean people who know a lot about science. Why was she going to Mars? She wanted to explore the planet and bring back rocks for study. Explore means travel to a new place to learn about it. She wanted to know about the planet Mars. A small robot called Curio accompanied her on her trip to help her on Mars. As she moved further into space, Captain Jenna watched the Earth getting smaller and smaller. She noticed the stars in the sky and thought about the planets that go around the sun. After many days, the spacecraft finally reached Mars. It took a long time for them to reach Mars since it was so far from Earth. What is a robot? It is a machine used to do work that is normally done by a person. It is usually controlled by a computer. These are few examples of robots. A robot called Curio went with her as her assistant. What did Jenna notice as she traveled through Mars? Jenna noticed the stars in the sky and the earth getting smaller as she went away from it. Why did she take a long time to reach Mars? She took a long time to reach Mars because it is very far from the Earth. Oh wow, I can see the two moons of Mars, Captain Jenna said eagerly to herself. She then landed the spacecraft on the planet's surface. As she looked out of the window, she became very excited about finally reaching Mars. She couldn't wait to start her work. Children, just like the Earth has a moon which goes around it, the planet Mars has two moons which go around it. Their names are Phobos and Deimos. As you can see in the video, its moons are revolving around it. Captain Jenna felt very happy and excited when she landed on Mars because she was eager to start her research on the planet. Let me take my digging tool with me, she said. Then she opened the hatch door and got down from the spacecraft. Captain Jenna wore a special spacesuit which she had brought along with her. She also carried an air tank on her back to help her breathe, as she did not want to breathe the dangerous air on Mars. She looked at the surface of the planet and decided to walk far away from the spacecraft in search of rocks and soil. Mars is full of large and rocky hills, she said. Children, Captain Jenna had a purpose in flying to Mars. She wanted to explore it and learn different things about it. She opened the hatch door and got down from the spacecraft. Hatch door means a special kind of door found in ships or spacecrafts. What was she wearing? She was wearing a space suit. It is a garment worn by astronauts in outer space. Children, why did she carry an air tank with her? Because on Mars, 95% is carbon dioxide and we cannot breathe that. So, she carried an air tank with her. It is a large barrel where air is stored to be used later. As you can see in the picture, the astronaut is carrying an air tank. Captain Jenna's scientist friends had already told her about all the good places on Mars from where she could dig out the rocks. Now, I should go in search of the spots from where I can find the right rocks for the test, she said. Curio too went along with her to help her find the rocks. The scientists had asked Jenna to collect rocks and soil from the surface of Mars because they wanted to see if there was life on Mars long ago. Captain Jenna used her digging tool and collected a lot of rocks to perform tests on them. She then took the help of Curio to study the rocks and see if they could be taken back to the scientists on Earth. Captain Jenna used her digging tool and collected a lot of rocks to perform tests on them. Why did the scientists want to test the rocks on Mars? They wanted to see if there had been life on Mars. Curio helped Captain Jenna study the rocks. It also assisted her in digging a few more rocks from the soil. Finally, it took a picture of Captain Jenna and sent it to Earth for all the other astronauts and scientists to see. Children, how did Curio help Captain Jenna on her mission? Curio helped her to collect rocks, to test them to see if they could be taken back to be studied by the other scientists, and also took a picture of her for her colleagues. Do you think Captain Jenna was prepared to visit Mars? Yes, she was fully equipped to land on Mars. As I had already discussed, she wore a spacesuit to walk on Mars and carried an oxygen mask to be able to breathe clean air. She also took Curio and all the necessary equipments to help her collect samples from Mars. Further, she found out from the scientists all about the places on Mars where she could dig out rocks. At last, the time came for Captain Jenna and Curio to leave the red planet and head back home. They traveled past all the planets and stars. Captain Jenna's work was done as she had brought back all the rocks which she had collected on her mission. Mars is also known as the red planet because of the color of its surface. How can we say that she was successful in her mission? She landed safely on Mars, collected the samples needed for study, and returned to Earth safely. She came back and told everyone about what she saw on Mars. The scientists thought that people had lived on Mars a long time ago. They even wondered if Mars was green and blue like Earth at one time. All the scientists congratulated Captain Jenna and told her what excellent work she had done. Well done, Captain Jenna. Soon it will be time for you to get ready for another trip, they said together. What did the other scientists think about Mars? They thought people could have lived on Mars a long time ago, and that it could have been blue and green like the Earth. All the other scientists were happy that she completed her mission successfully. They congratulated her and said that they even trusted her to make another trip to Mars to help in their research. Do you think Captain Jenna enjoyed her work? What makes you think so? Yes, I think Captain Jenna enjoyed her work. She wanted to explore Mars and was brave enough to go there alone. She was very excited about her trip, and when she finally reached Mars, she was very pleased and delighted to work there. She was very serious about her work too, as she did everything that the scientists asked her to do. She studied the rocks and soil, performed tests on them, and brought them back with her for the scientists. How can you say that it is a science fiction story? It is a science fiction story because here we read how an astronaut travels to Mars with a robot and explores the planet. She also gets to know a lot about the planet when she collects rocks and soil from there. Since it is an imaginative story about an adventure on a different planet, the story can be called a science fiction. How difficult is it to travel to Mars? What preparations are required before one takes up any space travel? We know it is not easy at all. One has to undergo intense training to go to space. The astronaut needs to wear a special spacesuit. We have no idea how Mars will be because no one has explored Mars so far. In reality, it requires a lot of courage, strength, and months of training to go to Mars. Children, world's top space agencies are trying to explore this wonderful red planet. The USSR's Mars 3 lander made the first successful landing on the planet's surface. India's ISRO was the fourth space agency to reach Mars after the Soviet space program, NASA, and ESA. India successfully placed a spacecraft into Mars orbit on its first attempt. ISRO's MOM means Mars Orbiter Mission is also the cheapest mission till now. It was initially estimated to survive around 6 months, but it is still active and has captured many pictures of the red planet for 2 Martian years. I hope you enjoyed the story. Now read it again from your GulMohar literature book for better understanding. Be ready with your queries. We will discuss the question answers and exercises of the chapter in the online class tomorrow. And we'll also solve any query that you have. Thank you.